Awesome. So I believe we should be ready to rock and roll. Okay, so the agenda is counting. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. This is choosing the right social media platform for your business. So, what we're going to be doing is going to be going through just talking about how you choose the right social media channel for your business, right? I think it's something that is it actually has a significant impactful decision in terms of how you are going to use the internet or social media to reach your audience. So, looking at sort of the structure for today or for the next hour. We're going to start by looking at evaluating the strengths and weaknesses of some social media platforms. Now, it's important for me to say that we will cover, we just won't be able to cover all of them, or I should say the seven major, which would be Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest, TikTok, and X. Um, those are the major seven, and those are the seven we create content for. Um, so we will pick some here and there. So we will cover, I'd say four probably. That's what I recall. Um, we're going to talk about aligning with audience and campaign goals. How can you make sure that your audience and your campaign goals are aligned? We're going to look at selecting effective social media platforms, the pros and cons of graphic content, and then the pros and cons of video content. And then we should be wrapping it up for the day. So without further ado, let's go ahead and look at evaluating strengths and weaknesses of different social media channels. I love to start with an interesting fact. So here is one. So 43.9% of people worldwide are social media users, right? And you can see the yellow right here. That's the percentage that is, let me make this a little bigger. There we go. Oh, so that is the total percentage over the world. And, you're talking about 3.6 billion people worldwide. It's just a massive digital crowd. Um, and it's important for you to understand the pros and the cons of each channel because there's a lot of people on social media, nearly half the world, just some percent shy of half the world. And so I always say this that with great power comes great responsibility. That's not my saying, but um, what I mean is that because there's so much abundance, specificity becomes very important, right? It kind of aligns with the if everything is important, nothing is important type of saying. And you have to be specific and understand where it is that you want to be and who it is that you're trying to speak with. Otherwise, you can easily be speaking to the wrong people because, again, nearly half the world is is on it. So now let's identify some of the strengths of the various social media channels. Actually, okay, yeah, there we go. Yeah, I think you can see it. All right. So we're going to look at Facebook, Instagram, and then we're going to look at Twitter, right? Or X, um, as Elon has so famously changed the name to. So, Facebook, community building and engagement. Now, let me tell you, when Facebook came out, I remember, um, and this may show my age a little bit, and I don't mind, but um, when Facebook came out, I was in college because I remember um, I remember at some time Facebook being banned from the university computers, right? And it's crazy that I was a marketing student. And today I'm doing marketing on the very same platform that the institution that taught me how to do marketing didn't allow me to use at the actual institution. So um, that's how fast technology is moving, right? And Lord knows where TikTok is going to be, 10, 20 years from now. Will it even still exist? We don't know. But anyway, I'm giving you this story to really tell you that today Facebook is more for the boomer, I believe the boomer and the Gen X and the Gen Xers, just because um, it, it's um, it's just the demographic that is using Facebook the most. And Facebook, because it's sort of the founding social media, it's still one of the best for community. A lot happens in Facebook groups, and if you're able to tap into that, it's phenomenal. So Facebook is a metaphorical town square of social media, if you will, right? 2.85 billion monthly active users worldwide. It's the go-to platform for building and nurturing online community around your brand. Businesses can leverage the power of Facebook groups, live streams, interactive tools to foster strong customer relationships, let alone the ads platform on Facebook, right? I was just running some Facebook ads before this. It's just really, really powerful. And here's a real world example. Coca-Cola's Facebook centered Share a Coke campaign generated significant engagement, encouraging Facebook users around the world to personalize virtual Coke bottles. So it's just a great um, community to be, and it allows you to share just text, images, and videos, right? Which is limited. Not all social media platforms actually allow you to do that. Let's move on to Instagram. I remember when Instagram came out, and it was a friend of mine who's a photographer was actually telling me about it. And um, initially, I thought it was just a photography app, but here we are today, right? So Instagram is a visually oriented platform. That's the first thing about it, right? And when we finished off Facebook, I just mentioned that you can post just written text. You can't do that on Instagram. So it's ideal for brands that are aiming to tell a story with compelling images and short video, right? And this is kind of how Instagram came out, if you will, because when Instagram came out, it had the perception that you had to be a photographer, you had to be a videographer, that app was all about sharing cool images. The same way TikTok today has the stigma of you have to dance to be on TikTok, right? Like the videos have to be all about dancing. And so it's just interesting how these platforms are introduced to us. But the way that you need to look at things, or the way I like to look at things, is that just understand how people are drawn to it, why they're drawn to it, what are they doing on the actual platform, because that then allows you to define who it is that you want to be in the platform, or who you want your company to be, or how you want to sound like, what tone do you want to use, right? It's kind of like if you were going to a dinner party and you're at the dinner party and you're like, how do I want to exude myself, right? Am I the rude guest? Am I the polite guest? If somebody spills their drink, do I help them clean it up? Am I the one laughing? Am I the one staying behind to help clean up? Am I the one leaving early? It's all about um, social media is all about that. So let's look at a real world example. National Geographic uses Instagram to share breathtaking photographs from around the world, attracting millions of enthusiastic followers. You can imagine that a brand such as renowned and unique, if you will, as National Geographic is bound to just absolutely um, flourish on a platform like Instagram because they are just very visual. You know, people want to see the animals and people want to see the wild. So they are just brands that are almost made for certain digital platforms. And that's the conversation we're trying to have here today is understand the platform, understand who's on it so that you choose where you want to be. Because, and we're going to look at this later, if you stretch yourself too thin, it's never a good thing. Twitter, news updates and customer support. Um, my brother is it's a big tweet or X guy, and I remember him telling me one time just how it's just fast. It happens on the moment, and I think that's probably one of the reasons I'm not a big Twitter guy because I'm too on the go to be on social media on the go. I like to I don't know, take an hour and every other day or once a week or something and just look at a whole bunch of, I don't know, Facebook, Instagram maybe, rather than just being on Twitter constantly when something happens. But anyway, it's all I suppose it's a whole generational thing. My brother is younger, I think, is if you're wondering. But so Twitter, it's news updates and customer support, right? Like because this is for things that literally happen on the moment. And so phenomenal for customer support. So Twitter is best used for sharing real-time updates. Again, I'm not a big real-time kind of guy. Trending news, providing prompt customer service. It's optimal for brands aiming to keep their audience informed and engaged in direct dialogue with them. So, real world example JetBlue Airways has received praise for their rapid response time and helpful customer service on Twitter, right? It's just a great way. It's right there, it's on the go as it's happening. So, we looked at each of these platforms. Now, let's look at some of the weaknesses or some of the not so good things for each of these various social media platforms. Um, and just as before, we're going to start with Facebook. So, Facebook's frequent and sometimes unpredictable changes to its algorithm often tend to favor personal content such as posts shared by friends and family over branded posts and promotional content from businesses. This shift in priority makes it increasingly difficult for companies and organizations to achieve meaningful organic reach on the platform. As a result, many businesses find themselves struggling to engage their audience effectively without resorting to paid advertising. And I'm sure you've been there. If you post significant content on Facebook, I'm pretty sure that you have seen that if you go in as a business and you start a business page and you just begin to post, you will literally get crickets. And you could post significantly, consistently for 6 to 9 months, and you will still get a lot of crickets. And so you need to rely on, especially in the beginning, family and friends to really kind of go in and like your page and give it that little boost. Because if you just create a page and you start posting, it is such an abyss of accounts that you just get lost in the noise. Even with hashtags, even with all of this stuff, I have seen it. Trust me. But if you just spend even a meager $20 to $30 a week, you will see significant change. I'm talking 3 to 4 thousand people more. You know, you could go from like 2 to 300 people a week seeing your stuff to like 4,000, right? That's more than 10x just for $20 to $30. And that's what it's referring to here. The algorithm keeps changing because they want to keep Facebook as a community um, social media. So they want to sort of the moms, the uncles, the grandpas to, share the family photos and things like that. And Facebook Marketplace has become a big thing as well. So they try to change all kinds of different things to keep the platform engaging and to keep people on the platform. And part of that means not making it as good for marketing purposes or for entrepreneurial purposes. Let's look at Instagram, which, of course, as I'm sure you know, is also owned by Facebook, or they're part of the same. They're the same in essence. Limited linking options, right? Instagram is one of the few platforms that doesn't allow you to put links on um, captions. So when you post something, and if you want people to click or to go to a website, Instagram won't let you do that. But again, um, just like Facebook, if you pay or if you run an ad, even if you're talking again $20 to $30, you could even do as little as $2 a day or even $3 a day. Which comes down to, I think, 20, yeah, 20 to 30, yeah, again, 20 to 30 a day, 20 30 a week. Um, but that immediately then allows you to add a link where people see your content and they can click and you can send them to a sales page, a landing funnel, um, or a landing page. Instagram is a popular social media platform, only permits its users to have a single clickable link in their bio section. This limitation poses a significant challenge for marketers who are striving to effectively drive traffic to external websites and apps. Your goal is not to keep people on your Instagram profile, no matter how good your content is. You want people to go on into another page. You want people to go somewhere else so that they can do whatever it is you want them to do. Even though you can also sell things or make products available on Instagram, that does not mean that you want to make them available there. With the growing emphasis on link sharing and directing audiences to various destinations, this constraint forces marketers to be particularly strategic and innovative in their approaches. And I know I've done that before. I've done things like create a microsite, or a link in bio, and just making sure that that link in bio then is constantly updated and it has everything that you have going on. Things like promotions, webinars, or events, and any cool thing that you have going on that's directly linked to your brand. Um, they must find ways to optimize that one available link to maximize its potential and impact for their promotional efforts. So just like I said, right, that one link, if you now have a microsite, you can then have multiple links. So you have the one link on your link in bio, and then they click that, and then it takes them to more links without or before taking them to your actual website. So Twitter, and I think this is the crux, right? I think if you're a Twitter guy, if you're use tweets significantly, you probably have a short attention span because tweets are very short and there's lots of them, right? So you gotta go through them pretty fast. So Twitter's fast-paced and real-time nature creates a unique environment that makes it particularly challenging to capture user attention for an extended period of time. The constant flow of tweets and updates combined with the platform's emphasis on brevity and immediacy means that users are often scrolling quickly through their feeds, probably not reading everything, right? So your impression to reach ratio is significantly different or much wider than in other platforms because they're scrolling so fast that even though the content loads on their platform, they are probably not reading it because they're speeding through it. This rapid movement can result in fleeing engagement with content, as attention is easily diverted to the next trending topic, viral tweet, or even breaking news story. Consequently, it becomes increasingly difficult for users to focus deeply on any single message or piece of information for a prolonged duration. And not to mention, Twitter ads are just as bad. The algorithm, for some reason, tends to show you ads that don't apply to you at all, or that are just, that you are not in the target market for. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of, they will show you things you know, that you're just not interested in or don't necessarily apply to you, which makes you question how the algorithm is being used. I don't know what Elon and those guys are doing over at X, but there are challenges. Um, with that, let's get moving. So, what are the key takeaways here, right? So, when planning your social media campaign, carefully consider the strengths and the weaknesses of direct social media channels. And I would say, not even just campaigns, I would say your company's marketing overall. Tailor your strategy to capitalize on each platform's unique features and mitigate potential drawbacks, right? I often also like to say, make sure that the platforms you are on, that not just your audience is on them, but that you are able easily to create content that goes with that platform, right? What is your communication style, especially if you're the one creating the content, which you are most likely to be in the beginning, right? If you're not, if you're working with somebody else, it does not matter. But if it is you doing it, are you a talker? Are you a writer? Are you a video person? Are you a graphic person? Are you a photo person? Right? Those things matter. Because if you're not a video person and you try to go on TikTok and YouTube, you are going to have challenges. Remember, what works on one platform may not work on another. That's the other part, right? So you have to really understand the platform itself. Your content should always be adapted to align with the nature of the platform you're utilizing. To assess your grasp of these principles, consider this practical assignment. Research and note down key strengths and weaknesses for a social media platform to be discussed in this um, in this forum. So before you go ahead, make sure you write down the strengths and the weaknesses of the social media channels that you're going to use. So now that you're truly prepared to harness the incredible and transformative power of various social media channels in order to effectively catapult your campaign to unprecedented heights, this is an opportunity for you to significantly amplify your reach and engagement, ultimately leading to your greatest success. That's what social media is about. You want reach, you want engagement. And engagement means people feel some way about what it is that you're sharing. That is very important. You are trying to incite an emotion, whether it's sadness, whether it's happiness, or anything in between. And so, with that, we will move on to the next part, which is aligning platforms with your target audience and campaign goals, right? So, did you know each social media platform has a unique demographic and usage pattern that can shift your campaign's reach and effectiveness? You heard me say earlier on where, what the demographic on Facebook is today, where Facebook started in college campuses, and today it's mostly the parents of the people that were in those college campuses back then that are now on these on this platform. Understanding the target audience and specific objectives of a campaign are key to matching the right social media platform to your marketing efforts. This lesson will give you a hands-on approach to aligning platforms with your target audience and campaign goals. So, whoops. I have to tell you, um, I begin when I do or plan campaigns for my clients. This is the first thing that I do, right? The very first thing I do is I want to do a target audience exercise. It's a must. And it's because we need to understand who it is we're trying to talk to. If you're trying to really spark a conversation it matters who you're talking to, because you're not going to speak to a 5-year-old the same way you're going to talk to an 18-year-old. You're not going to speak to your mom the same way you speak to your dad. You're not going to speak to your spouse the same way you speak to your children. And you're not going to speak to one child the way you speak to another. And if you are hearing me right now and you speak to everybody the same way, you need to reconsider your communication style, because you have to adapt based on who it is that you're speaking. It's important. So, how are you identifying a target audience? Identifying a target audience involves understanding their age, location. You know, somebody living in one part may think different than somebody who lives in another part, right? There's different climate, different infrastructure, just different concerns, really. You know, we're all the same at the end of the day, but different locations just have different um, requirements and different thoughts, goals, values, and of course, behavior. So let's look at an example. Assume that you're a marketing, stylish, affordable watch designer for young professionals. This indicates your target audience is likely to be between the ages of 25 to 35. They appreciate value for money and style, right? So just right there, um, when you look at it, this is such a simple example, right? But just in two sentences, just in one sentence, you're then able to determine three different characteristics of this audience. Because once you understand what it is that you're offering, you then understand who may be interested in what it is that you're offering. So before you go ahead and choose the platforms you're going to be on, it's important for you to research platform demographics, right? Just understand that your target audience isn't enough. You must also become familiar with the demographics of each social media platform caters to, right? So, in other words, if you understand that your target audience is 25 to 35, it doesn't just mean that you need to understand the 25 to 35s. It means that you need to understand all of the social media channels to then understand on which channels the 25 to 35 is on. That's what this is saying right here. So let's look at Facebook. So with a staggering total, as I mentioned earlier, 2.7 billion users, Facebook manages to reach an incredibly diverse array of demographic groups from all walks of life. However, it is particularly popular amongst adults aged 25 to 35 who represent a significant portion of its user base. I don't completely agree with this, because I believe that this is more Instagram demographic. I think that Facebook is more 35 to 46, and maybe even 46 to 55 more. Um, but that's a conversation for another forum. But this is what this is saying. But I believe that Facebook has a slightly older generation, and this age group engages actively with the platform, utilizing its various features for social networking, sharing content, and connecting with friends and family. I'm gonna check with my team or check with the editing team. But yeah, I don't agree with this. Sorry. um, so Instagram, popular among the younger generation, 18 to 24. Wow. Okay, maybe I'm just looking at people older than they really are. Um, but yeah, so 18 to 24 group stands out as the largest user base base of this particular platform, showcasing a significant trend in digital engagement and social interaction. This demographic is increasingly drawn to the features and functionalities offered, making it a vibrant hub for communication, creativity, and connection in today's face-based landscape. Yeah, Instagram is just, it is a very busy platform, especially now that they have the stories and the reels. Instagram was also the first platform to start the stories, and then Facebook followed. Um, Snapchat was pretty much created from the concept of stories. And then LinkedIn also tried to have stories at some time, but then they removed it because they there just was not enough demand for it. But yeah, it is great demographic for young people for sure. Let's look at LinkedIn, known for its extensive business professional network. LinkedIn has established itself as a premier platform that is likely to attract a diverse array of working professionals and B2B marketers for various industries. This unique online space not only facilitates connections among individuals, but it also fosters opportunities for collaboration and knowledge sharing within the business community. So LinkedIn is it's just a phenomenal platform, especially if you're B2B, right? If you're marketing to other businesses, you've got to be on LinkedIn. And I tell my clients all the time, like if you're a business that does business with other businesses, you LinkedIn is um, is your is your place to be. To know more about audience demographics and social media platforms, consider trusted sources and researchers like Pew Research Center Annual Demographics of Social Media Users Report. I don't know if this is where my team got that Facebook demographics from, but yeah, we need to go and look up on this Facebook demographic. So identifying campaign goals. Your campaign objectives will play a significant role in determining the best platform. Are you looking for conversions? Are you looking for impressions? Are you looking for just reach? Are you looking to just get more traffic? Are you looking for people to book appointments with you? Are you looking to run ads? Are you looking to just do organic? Is your goal to create brand awareness, lead generation, drive website traffic, or promote a new product? So let's look at a few examples here. So if you are focused on brand awareness, if your primary goal is to effectively spread brand awareness among a wide audience, platforms like Facebook or Instagram, which boast a vast and highly active user base, can be regarded as some of the most effective channels available. These social media platforms not only allow you to connect with potential customers, but also provide numerous tools and features designed to enhance visibility and engagement. By utilizing these platforms strategically, you can significantly amplify your brand's reach and create lasting impression on users. So if you're just looking to create awareness, especially if you're about to launch or if you're about to start, like at the start, at the inception, Facebook and Instagram is your solid foundation. Let me also add something here that if you just, let me take a few steps back. You cannot have an account with just one. And this is something that a lot of people don't know when they start promoting or marketing themselves on Meta channels. You can't just have one. If you have a Facebook account, you've got to get the Instagram. And even worse, if you have an Instagram, you've got to get the Facebook because you've got to have those accounts linked so that you are more efficient and thorough in your optimization and your running ads. And you will not be able to use tools such as schedulers, analytics tools, if you don't have both accounts and they're linked. Because these tools, this is how Facebook or this is how Meta has created it. If you just have the one, it's a lot harder to do that. But let me just put that out there. Um, so let's look at everybody's favorite, lead generation. So lead generation, if you have a strong focus on lead generation, then LinkedIn may well be the ideal platform for your needs because it is a business platform and everybody that is on LinkedIn is there represented as the professional version of themselves, if you will, or what it is that they do professionally. So it is a more business focused and centered platform. This professional networking site offers a unique opportunity to connect with business professionals, decision makers, and even potential clients in various industries, making it invaluable resource for generating high quality leads. But it's also not very businessy to just walk up to people and be very businessy or very salesy. So you also have to keep that in mind. Um, let's look at Drive website traffic. I think we're going a little slower than expected. Yeah, we've still got two parts to cover. Okay, let's keep going. So, Drive website traffic, both Facebook and Twitter are indeed excellent platforms that can effectively drive significant website traffic. Because why? Because both of these platforms are designed to share links that then direct the users to another platform through not only regular posts, but also through strategically placed paid advertisements. These social media networks provide users with the tools to share content, engage their audience, promote their brands, making them invaluable for, excuse me, businesses seeking to enhance their online presence and attracting more visitors to their websites. So Facebook, X or Twitter, perfectly made for sharing links, YouTube links, website links, landing page links, sales funnels, you name it. What if you're just looking at product promotion? Well, for visually appealing product promotions, and this way you can share things like demos and other links as well. Instagram or Pinterest could be considered as perfect choices due to their highly visual nature and the ability to engage audiences effectively. I should also mention I have nothing but great things to say about Pinterest. I think they're one of the most professional and one of the most forward-thinking social media platforms. Everything that I've ever received and dealt with from Pinterest is it's always flawless. And I also think that the people on the platform are also very they're along the same lines, very savvy, very forward-thinking people because spinners, as they are known, are thinking about the future. They're planning for the future. If you're pinning something, you're doing it because you're thinking about doing something. You're thinking about renovating the bathroom. You're thinking about getting this outfit for your brother's wedding. You're thinking about going on this skiing trip with your friends, you name it. So both of these social media platforms are designed to specifically showcase beautiful imagery, making them ideal for brands looking to present their products in an attractive manner. So this is the other side too, right? If you're looking at product promotion and you want to choose these platforms, you have to be appealing because your look is everything in these instances. So now let's look at a case study. I think this is a quite a short case study, but let's look through it. So a case study of Sony's Alpha Camera Instagram campaign to drive awareness and interest for its Alpha cameras. Sony launched a user-generated content campaign on Instagram. I have to say that user-generated content is the best. Let me repeat that. User-generated campaigns are the best because if you can get your users to actually create content for you and you share that, there's nothing more authentic than that. Nothing. Trust me. Encouraging users to share their photos taken by a Sony camera and use the hashtag Sony Alpha. Sony chose Instagram for its visual appeal and a user base that loves photography. The campaign saw tremendous success with a 3x increase in the tag's usage. There are fewer ways for you to 3x your level of attention or even sales, right? You come up with a great idea, you've got a great product, and people already connect with it, people already love it. It's it's just seamless, if you will. See, I told you that case study would be short. Okay, so we're almost halfway, running a little behind schedule, but we keep going. Aligning platforms with audience and goals. So what are we looking at here? After identifying your target audience, which we looked at, spoke about a little bit, and you have your campaign goals, and you study the platform demographics, you need to align these elements by asking where does your audience hang out? And which platform best supports your campaign objectives, right? It's kind of if you were trying to hang out with a specific group of people, where are they hanging out, right? You want to know where they are usually at. And how are you going to support your objective once you know where they are and you plan to meet them there? What are you going to say? For instance, if promoting a business conference to industry executives, which is your audience, driving registrations is your goal, that's your campaign objective. LinkedIn could be your platform, right? That may be the platform of choice. So this right here, again, just in two sentences, we're looking at a real, live, and vivid example of how one would create, or how one would define your audience, create your campaign goals, and based on these two, then choose the third one, the platform. So let's look at a practical exercise of platform alignment. Let me make this a little smaller for you. Whoops. There we go. Practical exercise, platform alignment. So think about what's the latest campaign you ran or an upcoming one, right? First thing you want to do is you want to define your target audience. Ideally, you've already defined your target audience um, for your brand already. So it should most likely either be a segment of the target audience for your brand, or the entire target audience as a whole. You want to determine your campaign goals. What's your objective? What are you trying to do? Right? And if you don't know what your objective is, let me tell you this. If you've got a Facebook page, a Facebook business page, and you go in there and you just go to the ad center, you can see the different objectives that you have for a Facebook campaign. And you can literally copy those or just look at what the potential campaign goals may be. And they're the ones that we just looked at up top, like, generating leads, brand awareness, website traffic, and you can just pick one of those. Research demographics for at least three relevant platforms. And again, if you've already sort of ran campaigns before, then maybe just assess the two, three, or however many platforms you're on, assess the ones that you're on and see which ones are likely to have the larger part or the larger number of your target audience, and is likely to be mostly aligned with your campaign goals. And then, of course, you choose the best platform based on your audience and your goals. So just this is a really simple four-step um, process on how you can just do a quick check to make sure that you're using the right platform, or the best platform, I should say. Um, Remember, successful social media campaign is not merely about being present everywhere, right? Because that's why you don't see a lot of Lamborghini ads, right? Because these companies market themselves where they are likely, um, they market themselves in other ways, right? I don't want to say that you're not a Lamborghini buyer if you've never seen a Lamborghini ad, um, but yeah, it's not just about being everywhere, right? Because if you're at the wrong place and at the wrong time, does that even matter? Nobody saw you, and the people that saw you were not trying. They were not looking for you, right? It's about being present where it matters the most, um, and figuring out where that is only half the journey. Because once you do figure out where it is that you need to be, then you actually then need to come up with a message that you're going to communicate. So um, I want you to remember that none of this is final though, because once you choose a platform, if it's not right for you, or if you're struggling to create content because it's not your most natural form, you can always change it. So with that, we're moving on to the next. Okay. Oh, actually, that section is not here. Anyway, let's keep going. I think we may have to speed things up a little bit just because of time. Um, so, I love to start with a fact. Did you know that? And actually, this is a fact we shared earlier already. So, 44% of the world, 3.6 billion people, are on social media. This demonstrates a massive potential. Social media platforms have diverse audiences. But the question is, how do you choose the right platform? That's what we're here to talk about today. So let's dive deeper. So understanding the nature of various platforms. Social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Pinterest have their own unique features and user demographics. It's crucial to understand these and ascertain which platform aligns best with your campaign goals. So, for example, Facebook, right? It's an all-rounded platform with over 2.7 billion monthly active users, and it has a broad demographic, which is a all age groups, and various content types: text, image, videos, live videos, and even stories. LinkedIn, right? Ideal for B2B companies. We looked at this earlier, around 722 million professionals. It's the biggest professional platform. And it's great for sharing industry related content, job listings, company news, and even professional content. So, to be truly effective, a social media campaign must connect with your audience. And exploring and to understand your target audience and social media habits will give you valuable insights to help pick the best platform, the best day, and the best time, even, right? Because if you're posting at exactly a time that your audience is most likely to be active, that will give you an extra boost as well. So if your audience are millennials, Instagram and Snapchat are known to be high appeal to younger audiences, and that could be platforms for your campaign. So you heard me mention about just your ability to create content also has to be factored in, right? Get clear on your resources. Each social media platform requires different types of content and frequency of posting, right? So as you research each platform, also understand what are your limitations, what are your resources. You heard me say, if you choose YouTube and TikTok and you're not a good video creator, you will struggle. Or if you don't have video creating resources, right? YouTube might be an effective platform if your campaign includes video content, but it's important to have the resources to create high quality engaging videos, right? Because if it's not just important to be on YouTube, but it's important to make sure that your video does not look out of place next to all the other YouTube videos when somebody runs a search and your video is then next to other videos like it, created by people who are trying to speak on the same topics as you are. Each social media platform caters best to specific marketing goals and objectives. It's essential to carefully think about what you aim to achieve with your marketing efforts. If your primary goal is to generate leads and connect with potential clients, then platforms like LinkedIn or Twitter might be highly appropriate for your strategy. On the other hand, if you focus on boosting brand awareness and engaging with a wider audience, Instagram and Facebook can be ideal platforms for your campaign. So again, think about your campaign goals and make sure that they align with the platform that you are about to choose. So look at a practical exercise, right? To really get to choosing the right social media platform, do a quick mini audit on your business. Who's your target audience? What platforms do they use? What are your campaign goals? And which platforms best support the goals that you're trying to go for? Do you have resources to create high quality content for the chosen platforms consistently? Are you creating it? Is the admin creating it? Are you hiring an agency to create it? How are you collaborating together? What kind of content best represents your brand or campaign message? What does good look like? I love that question and I ask it a lot. What does good content look like? And I sometimes find that people don't know what good content looks like or they haven't defined it. So it's hard for you to then collaborate or create content with somebody else, whether it's the admin, whether it's an agency, whether it's your business partner. Because if you don't understand what sort of message you're trying to communicate and how you're trying to communicate it, it's very hard to get that message out. So this is a great practical exercise, right? And I really recommend this is a great place to start when you want to really just when you just want to define how you're going to go about um, marketing your brand on social media. It's not always about being present on every single platform. It is actually never about being present on every single platform because, like we said, demographics plays a large part. So if you're not trying to attract 18 to 24-year-olds, why would you be on Instagram? I'm not saying that there's only 18 to 24-year-olds, but if that is not the majority of your audience, um, that should not be the platform you spend or invest the most time on, right? By carefully choosing the right platform or platforms that align with your goals and your target audience, and by focusing your time and energy on truly creating valuable and meaningful content while also engaging authentically with your audience, because engagement is crucial. Because if there's no engagement, it's like you're just having a soliloquy, like you're just talking to yourself. Um, you can successfully create and execute a highly effective social media campaign that resonates with people. One of the things that often prevents people from sharing content is because they feel like they just have to be or they have to create one type of content. They feel that, and I often find that this has to do with how they were introduced to social media, how they were introduced to content, right? But some people, I saw the people where they say, "Oh, reels are the only thing, like just reels. All I want is reels, it's just video reels." Yeah, great, videos or reels are great, but I think that you need to diversify. You need to have different types of content because you can never look at content just the way you see it. You need to try and look at it from the lens of somebody else because you're trying to attract somebody else. So you can't just look at content and say, I like this because, or this looks good to me, or video is the only thing for me because there are people who are not so video savvy. And so you have to try and create different pieces of communication that appeal to to different kinds of people. And in so doing, you will create different mediums: graphic, video, written, and so we're going to look at the pros and cons of graphic and video content before I run off on a tangent about different types of content. But this is a double-edged sword of social media campaigns. Let's make this a little bigger. So a picture is worth 1,000 words. And as you can see, 94% of social media posts have visual, a video or a picture, right? Only 6% don't have visuals. And It's a staggering statistic, isn't it? I mean, it's not all sunshine and rainbows when you incorporate graphic content into your social media campaign. But let's dive into the nuances of analyzing pros and cons. But more likely than not, you know, as in 94% of the times, content has a visual. Um, and I want you to see this, it's a double-edged sword. It means that most times you should have, but if you don't have a visual, it is not the end of the world. Remember that. So let's look at the pros and cons of graphic content. So the first one, of course, it's a strong visual appeal, right? Visual content tends to be more engaging than text-based posts, and I think that's understandable. A well-designed infographic or even a vibrant photo, it doesn't have to be yours. It could be a stock image, can attract more eyes and garner more likes, shares, and comments, thereby increasing the visibility of your content. Think about the Instagram page of National Geographic we spoke about. You know, their eye-catching visual quality images instantly draw attention to viewers. It is just unbelievable. It's kind of how restaurants attract a lot of attention on social media, right? If you post a picture of just this voluptuous steak, it just speaks for itself. So their eye-catching, high-quality images instantly draw the attention of viewers, leading to high engagement rates. It's also easier to just absorb information because you're able to see it. Complex data and messages can be made more understandable through infographics and diagrams. A picture's worth a million, a picture's worth 1,000 words, a video's worth a million, probably at least. You probably hear me say that a couple more times. They allow you to present information in a way that's easier to digest compared to large blocks of text. Can you imagine reading a whole bunch of text? And you'll even see in this presentation, I don't even have large amounts of text just because nobody really wants to read large amounts of text unless it's in a book. So the WHO regularly uses visuals to simplify complex health data and statistics. And I'm sure you've seen, you're not the only ones that do it. I'm sure you've seen complex data simplified through a social media post, and it makes them more comprehensible for a wide audience. Whereas you don't have to be a statistical genius or even fully well versed on mathematics to understand some of these. You know, a pie chart, a bar graph, or it just make it so much easier to absorb information and fast too, especially if you're scrolling through very fast. So what else does it do? It encourages sharing, and that's what you want. It all of a sudden your content becomes UGC, user generated content. Well crafted social media graphics are more likely to be shared by your audience, broadening your reach and exposure. The best example are the memes by Netflix related to the popular shows. They're regularly shared by millions, creating a ripple effect of visibility and engagement. And I think the biggest one is probably The Office, right? Have you never shared a Michael Scott meme? I think I probably saw The Office memes before I knew what the show actually was. There's so many shows that I actually found out about just through a meme, because you see a meme and you're like, oh, what is this? Because it just speaks to you, or it just puts words or puts emotions to words so seamlessly. So what are the cons you might be thinking? Let's dive deeper. It's time consuming to create graphic content. I know, I create it for a living and people hire me to create it. So creating high quality and visually appealing graphics can often be a time consuming process. It requires not only specialized skills, but also the use of advanced software tools. This necessity can ultimately lead to an increase in the overall cost of your social media campaign, as hiring skilled designers or purchasing professional grade software can significantly add to your budget, not alone the skills that it requires. Graphic design is a profession for a reason. So if you're not a graphic designer, it just good luck on embarking on learning a new profession, I would say. Moreover, ensuring that the graphics are both engaging and aligned with your brand's identity requires careful consideration and expertise, further complicating the process, right? So this is definitely the cons of graphic content. Second, oversaturation of visuals. Due to extensive use of graphics across social media, the risk, there's a risk rather of your content getting lost in a sea of visual content if it doesn't stand out, right? And that is a serious con to creating graphic content. So in other words, if it's very benign and it's very templatey, it's just not going to stand out because there is just far too much graphic content on social media already, right? So on platforms like Instagram, where every post is visual, creating unique and memorable content, it can be challenging. Let's be real about that. So there's also potential for interpretation. With visual content, there's always a risk of misinterpretation because your audience might not understand the intended message behind the graphic, leading to confusion or even incorrect conclusions. There's nothing worse than miscommunication. It's just too if ineffective for business. So if a graph or chart with complex data is shared, it can be misleading or cryptic if not designed or explained properly, right? And if you're relying on the caption to do most of the explaining, you may get into trouble because maybe people are not reading the caption. They're just looking at the graph or the graphic. So what's the takeaway here? So when implemented wisely, graphic content can be a powerful tool in your social media campaign. However, understanding potential pitfalls can help you navigate them effectively. And remember, the key is to have a balanced mix of text and visuals. You heard me mention earlier, you want to diversify. So sometimes you want to hit them with a beautiful picture, whether it has something to do with your business or not. Sometimes you want to hit them with a meme of the character of their favorite show. And to me, I'm going to tell you this, memes to me is like hiring a famous A-list actor without paying them for it. Think about it. If you take a meme of Leonardo DiCaprio, whether it's in Django, whether it's in um, whichever movie, and you use that meme for your brand, it's like you hired Leo for your campaign without paying Leo prices. Whether you want Taylor Swift, whether you want whoever you are into, um, whoever you want. To me, it's the easiest way to associate a famous person that everybody knows, loves, adores, or even hates. Associate them with your brand without paying a penny. Smart way to do it. 20, 30 years ago, you couldn't do that. Absolutely not. If you put out an advertisement and you use somebody's, a picture or a little cut from a movie, you could get into trouble for it. But not today. Everybody's doing it. As a matter of fact, if you don't do it, you're missing out. So find what best suits your brand voice. That's important, right? Your campaign goals and the platform that you're using, they have to be aligned. Don't take the decision whether you're going to be on Facebook and Instagram versus Twitter and LinkedIn lightly. It can determine how fast you grow and the people that you reach, most importantly. And so, with that, we are now in the last section, which is going to talk about pros and cons of video content. Sorry, I got to look to the side sometimes because that is where I have the agenda. So let's dive right in. Again, an interesting stat. You know, earlier on, we looked at how much, how many, or what percentage of social media posts have graphics or have visual. We said only 6% don't have visual. So 82% of content is video at the moment. And so this is saying by 2022, we're in 2024 as we record this, and you might be watching this in 26 or in 2030 or Lord knows, how long this is going to be up for. But um, before we delve into the merits and drawbacks of video content, I just want you to understand the sheer potential that it holds. There's just a lot of potential for it, right? Online videos are predicted to make up 82% of all consumer traffic, which is 15 times higher than what it was in 2017. So I'm pretty sure that we're probably at the 85, if not 90% of the majority of content being video. And, undoubtedly, it's just hard to ignore these numbers. It's just hard to ignore these numbers. But at the same time, I also look at this and say, 18%, you probably still got 15% that's not video. I still see that as an opportunity too, but you've got to be creating video. You've got to be creating video. Like at this point in time, and your iPhone is a great way to start, but you've got to be creating video. People want to see your face and they want to hear you out. So what are the pros of video content? I'm sure you can think of some of these yourself, right? Because I think we all consume video content. So it's informative and comprehensive. Video content provides deep and valuable insights into a specific topic within a remarkably short span of time. Think about all those 10-minute how-to YouTube videos that you've seen, or even those 5-minute summaries of, be it, I don't know, a conference, a presidential debate, a sports game. We all watch sports. It has just unique ability to simplify complex information and making it more convenient and visually attractive for consumers to comprehend and engage with. So for instance, a tutorial of how to tie a tie, I've seen tons of those before myself. It becomes significantly more effective and easier to follow with a clear video demonstration that showcases each step in real time. This visual aid not only enhances understanding, but also keeps the viewer's attention throughout the process. And people can skip or move it a little forward. You can watch it again. And to me, this is why I love YouTube. It's up forever and ever and ever and ever, 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 ever. So that's informative, comprehensive, power of video. It's an engagement booster. Videos have a high engagement rate, right? Visuals and sounds tend to catch the viewer's attention more than wordy texts. BuzzFeed's tasty videos on Facebook receive enormous engagement because they represent recipes and, in short, visually pleasing and easy to digest form. And it's also why podcasts are so popular, right? Like, because you create the thing and then you can, these little bites that they just create engagement, right? It's just that little moment that's 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that's just fantastic. And of course, they're SEO friendly. Google just loves video. So adding video content to your website can increase the chance of a front page Google result by 53 times. And this is according to Movely. Movely is the video editing software we use, funny enough. As I'm reading this, I literally read this and it popped into my head. I was just like, oh, Lord. I actually, as I'm sitting here reading this, I realized I don't have a video on my homepage. Maybe I do. Actually, no, yeah, I lie. I do. I do have a video. But maybe I need to add another one. But yeah, it's SEO friendly. So not only does it increase visibility, but it also enhances your search engine ranking position. So these are the pros of video. So what are the cons? Now, I know you might be thinking what some of these may be. So without further ado, let's dive into them. So cost and time sensitive, right? As I sit here doing this, I can tell you I have probably 20 videos in editing, 20 different videos, and that's just the new recordings. That's just what's been recorded in the past 2 weeks, or that's what's been produced in 2 weeks. But if I look at videos that I could revive, um, it's probably another 20 in there, or a good 15 to 20. So it's costly and it's time sensitive. And I work with I'm blessed to have a good editing team, but it's still very time consuming, and it requires management. So smartphone technology has remarkably simplified the process of video recording. It has. You can record really, really, really good video with your smartphone. Creating high quality and truly engaging videos often requires the use of professionally grade equipment and advanced software, both of which can be quite expensive. Let's be real. Additionally, time is another crucial factor to consider. As the entire process, planning, editing, and promoting a video takes a significant amount of effort and dedication. So if you are managing a lot of things yourself, it is pretty hard for you to run a consistent video production routine. And I use the word routine because it is a routine, because you have to have the routine of recording, editing, distribution, analytics, and improvement. And then you go again, and you just keep going, and you just keep going. And so to be able to have that consistently, um, it's significant. Trust me, we manage over 30 different accounts. It takes time. So this multifaceted approach not only demands technical skills, but also involves careful consideration of various elements to ensure that the final product resonates well with the intended audience. I'm going to be real with you that there's nothing wrong with starting and just starting from where you are, right? I believe that you have to start before you're ready. So begin even when you're not creating high quality video, because the whole process is you need to start with just creating video, to then creating a video every week, or and then creating maybe a video every other day, to then creating a video every day, to then creating a scripted video every day type of thing. But you want to be able to scale or grow, and this growth that I just mentioned, it could be done over a year, it could be done over 5 years, it could be done over 3 months. It all depends on at your own pace. But the most important thing is start. Don't prevent yourself from starting because of the quality. And this is where some people disagree with me, where they say, like one bad video can ruin your brand completely. Well, not if that video is not necessarily insulting or doing some out. If it's just bad production, come on. The people that are judging you for bad production are people that have probably never started anything themselves. So they have no idea of the effort it requires to even start, let alone maintain it. So just don't take those things to heart. Do what it is you got to do. Start before you're ready. It's cost and time intensive. So mitigate and look at how you can manage it, because you look at great creators like Gary Vee. He did his own production, did a lot of his own stuff before he was able to afford a team. So you've got to be able to do that. And And I have to tell you, I tell this people all the time, if you start before you're ready and you understand the process or you understand how things work, when you go and hire somebody, you're way more efficient and you're way more well versed on it. So in other words, if you go and hire a marketing agency, but you've been producing your own video for 2 years, you've been producing your own video for 6 months, your management of that agency is going to be way better because you understand the process, the production, the editing, the distribution, the analytics. You understand all of these things. So you are now in a better position to say to the agency, I want A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? Um, Skill and creativity, right? You can't overlook that. Not everyone possesses the ability to produce entertaining or captivating videos that can hold an audience's attention. I often tell people everybody has a Facebook account. It doesn't mean that you're qualified to post on Facebook representing a company, right? This intricate process requires a combination of creativity, effective storytelling skills, a certain level of technical know how, which might not come naturally to everyone. For some individuals, the nuances of video production can be quite challenging, making it difficult for them to create content that resonates with viewers and stands out in a crowded digital landscape. As a result, the art of video creation may not be everyone's cup of tea, and it's not supposed to be, as it demands both passion, proficiency in various aspects of the craft, right? You've got to leave the job to the professionals when you're in a position where you can, right? And if you're doing things yourself, remember it requires skill, it requires creativity. You've got to be patient with yourself as you navigate and make this journey. So because it's so time consuming, because it requires that extra skill, it is hard for you to measure ROI because you're likely putting tons of efforts into it, and it requires a large, consistent amount of effort in order for it to really begin to pay off. So it can indeed be quite challenging and complex. While metrics such as views and shares might symbolize a certain level of reach and engagement with the content, they often do not provide a complete picture of the effectiveness of the video in terms of actual conversion or sales figures. It's essential to analyze various other factors that contribute to understanding the true impact of video marketing. On overall business performance, this includes looking at how these views translate into meaningful actions such as website visits, lead generation, and ultimately purchases. That's what we all want. Additionally, tracking the customer journey and identifying which videos lead to conversions can provide deeper insight into the ROI of video campaigns. So analytics plays a hard or a massive part into it because it helps you sort of see what people are watching, see what people are clicking, see what people are not watching, see what videos people are exiting. And it helps you know what things are working well. So with that, you've got the cons or the cons of video. So in conclusion, video content has substantial benefits. There exist certain challenges that you should consider though. However, with a strategic approach that aligns the power of video content with your objectives, you can achieve successful social media campaigns. So in the upcoming sections and future conversations we'll delve deeper into strategies to leverage the strengths of video content and tips to overcome limitations. So stay tuned. Um, with that, this brings me to the end for today. So I am very grateful for everybody that sat through to the end. And I will open the floor to some questions if anybody has. Please.